Jordan from the quality team. What I'm going to be looking at today is how to complete a KSB review. So we'll be using Pro Monitor. We'll be looking at how you actually put in a KSB review meeting, the types of information that we're expecting to see within a KSB review, a bit of an overview as to how the structure works, and then ultimately you'll be able to complete these when they need doing when you're working with the learners. Now, KSB review, what happens is there's 4 throughout the academic year. You've got a starting point KSB review, you've got review 1, 2, and then you've got review 3, which is kind of like your exit interview review. Now, with the starting point KSB review, we are kind of looking about how the learners are settling in. The first 6 weeks of the program should be around doing a lot of assessment to see where those learners' starting points actually are. But ultimately, what we need to establish is what knowledge, skills, and behaviours are actually needed for that qualification in that program, what's needed for industry, and just kind of making a judgment of where they're at and what they need to work on in order to develop and improve on those aspects. Now, with the starting point review, we're also looking about how learners are settling in. Are they enjoying college? Have they made any new friends? Do they feel safe? Are they looking to join the enrichment team? Are they looking to join the football academies? Or are they doing things in and around college that they're interested in as well? So that's a couple of stuff that you can look at. Now, when we're moving further on into the KSBs, when you're looking at review 2 and 3, it's kind of about the development of those KSB scores. Have they improved? Have they worked on? Have they developed further for those specific knowledge, skills, and behaviours that's needed for industry, or moving into further or higher education? When we're completing these reviews as well, we're not only just looking at the academic development of those learners, we are looking at the personal and professional development aspects. So it could be things like, has their attendance improved? Have they had issues with punctuality, but now they're turning up on time? It's wider than the qualification, and it's more about making sure that those learners are becoming well-rounded individuals that can support their local communities. Can they interact? It's those kind of aspects as well. So it's not just a case of the academic development, but ultimately within the review, those are kind of some of the key features that we're looking for in regards to what's expected in regards to where they're developing and moving forward. Your review is also an opportunity to show if learners are on track and making progress towards their next steps, which could be progressing on to further education or moving on to higher education, moving on to an apprenticeship, moving on to employment. It's just monitoring that aspect as well, and just if there is any issues or concerns that they're kind of identified in there as well, in regards to their progress and development. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to book a meeting in. I'll just give some advice in regards to how or what aspects I'd put into the KSB review as well. What I would say is that we've also, as part of this new to teaching induction program, what we have done is we have created some crib sheets which you've got access to on the Google site about how to complete each review. You've also got a guidance for learners as well in regards to what they should know before they're turning up, things like knowing their attendance, knowing the punctuality scores, knowing what grades they've been achieving, how they think they're developing as well, and ultimately they're taking a little bit of ownership and responsibility in regards to their development. And then there's also some guidance, just a general guidance for staff in regards to some of the questions that you might want to ask when you're in there as well. Now, from a typing aspect, can be quite a lot to try and do when you're having a conversation with a learner, which you may book your learners in for 15-20 minutes at a time, and if you've got a big cohort, it's going to take you quite a bit of time to get that information down onto the actual review in Pro Monitor. But you might want to have a look at software that'll actually talk type for you. So if you have a look at Chrome extensions, or if you want to know about Chrome extensions, more than happy to show that. If you get in contact with the quality improvement team website, or email, then you can we can arrange just to show you how to work that and make life a little bit easier for yourselves as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen. just to show you where you'd find it. So as you can see there, what I've done is we're on Pro Monitor, as you can see there. What I've done is I've actually searched for my student, and as you can see, just on that aspect there, don't know if you can see that. That's what we're looking for. You just click on your student's name, and then you'd be able to access the next page. So I'm just going to present the student's information. So as you can see there, we're on the student's actual page. What I'm going to do is I have to create a new meeting. So as you can see, they've got no meetings booked in at all. So what I need to do is just go to this section here and click on Add New. And then it's the meeting information. So what we need is Learner Journey Standard. So then it opens up a different number of type of meetings. So it's KSB Assessment Review 1. Then you can put in a reason for meeting, so it'd be progress review. And then you can save that. So then that'll save onto the learner's Pro Monitor page. And then what you can do is, as you can see, it's clearly set up. And if I want to edit that and have the meeting with the learner, I just click on the KSB review section here. Just click on that. And then I can start to have the meeting. Now, with these meetings, what I will say is that there's a couple of aspects that you need to be aware of. You don't need to rebook in another meeting because they're all in one document, they're all in one form. What you will need to do is to ensure that they, because MIS check to make sure that all learners have had their reviews timely, and from a manager's perspective, they'll check and say, oh, this learner's not had their review. What it will do is it actually measures if there's any information in that actual subsection there. So if I went to starting point and there was nothing wrote in there, and it's gone beyond their starting point review time, then what I'd need to do is I'd need to make sure that there's information in there in regards to make sure that it says, oh yeah, that review's been completed now and achieved. So like I said, what you'd be looking at there is things like what you need to know about our learners enjoying it, do the learners feel safe, outlet knowledge, skills and development, knowledge, skills and behaviours. What are the initial starting points they're at? Are they any good? What do they need to work on? What are the next steps? And you do that for every single review. So assessment point 1, assessment point 2, and then your review is kind of the reflection as to throughout assessment point or starting point 1, assessment point 1 and assessment point review 2, have they developed? Have they improved? Now this does link to the KSB trackers. That's in another video in regards to how to complete the KSB trackers. But ideally, what we want to make sure is that our learners making the progress that they should be making in regards to get them towards the next step. Are they under developing, or have they over exceeded expectations as well? So we just need to be aware of that. And if so, what actions do they need to take in order to get back on track? Another thing that we need to be to think about in regards to these KSBs is when you get to this final KSB section here is like, what is the next outcome? So ultimately, are they progressing in your area or department onto another course? Are they moving on to higher education? Are they moving on to an apprenticeship? Are they moving on to employment? Because we need to make sure that we do collect that evidence as well. All right. So, like I said, within the Google site, there are set questions that you can ask the learners. And like I said before, is what you might find is rather than typing the information in, you might use something called talk type, which I'm just going to use here. So like I said, you may have only got 20 minutes with a learner. So you might not have a lot of time to actually try and type in the information that learners are saying. Some other departments as well will get learners to fill out a Google form before they have the meeting, so they can fill out this information prior, which you can do. But ultimately, what you'll have to do is just check if the right information is there and it's sufficient enough, and it provides adequate detail. And then you can see there, just through that conversation, I've just used a talk type system. It's pretty much it's typed everything that I've just said. So like I was saying, from our perspective, it might be a little bit easier as well just to do it this way. But ultimately, like I said before, is the key element is those knowledge, skills, and development, because it is classed as a KSB review. You might want to talk about assignments. Have they completed assignments as well? Are they getting the grades that they need in order to progress? There's a lot of information that you can talk about, but please utilize the support sheets that are there, the crib sheets. You can print them off and you can have them at the side of you when you're completing this process. All right. So one thing that we will also say as well is that all learners at every review should get 3 targets. One should be knowledge, skill, and behaviour. One should be vocational, one should be behaviour based, and one, if they are completing English and maths, needs to be related to English and maths as well if they're doing their GCSE resets. And then what they'll need to do is when you come to the next review, is make sure that you've checked the targets and have they been achieved, have they been met. Again, if you're needing support in regards to how to complete targets, there is a little video, there's a PowerPoint, and there's a bit of a podcast in regards to the key concepts. And again, there's a support sheet as well that you can utilize to make sure that they are smart and they are measurable, and they are specific to the learner, and it provides a bit more focus. And the guidance sheet does actually look at the different sections of the types of types of targets that we're actually needing as well. Excellent. So hopefully that's given you a good oversight in regards to how to complete the targets. If you do need anything, one of the things that we always say is if you just contact the quality improvement email address, we will get back to you and we'll try and respond to you as quickly as we can, just to go over any other information that you might need. But hopefully you found that useful, and it will help you when you have to complete your targets.